All right. Same-sex marriage is back on the spotlight this week with today's vote in North Carolina. Proposed ban on it for the Constitution. Obama administration officials taking sides in a debate where their boss is publicly evolving, 18 months now evolving. Let's bring in the panel. Roll call, Shira Toeplitz, Casey Hunt from the Associated Press and on the Romney Trail, and Faz Shakir, editor-in-chief of thinkprogress.org. All right, let's talk about the politics of this. Faz, I want to start with you. What's worse here for the president, not having a position or not answering whether he has finished evolving on this or not, or taking a position for or against?
Well, the hard part of this is that everyone seems to think that Obama has a stance on this. It's internal. It's probably for pro-gay marriage. And the fact that he withholds it suggests that he's concerned about political realities. And I think this, in 2002, when he was talking about the Iraq War, remember, he spoke with great moral clarity about an issue because he didn't think he was going to be president. He wasn't worried about battleground states. And it was that made people feel excited about him. I would hope that he can channel that kind of moral clarity now and suggest what's in his heart and let it out.
I want to show a little timeline on President Obama and gay rights. So October 2010, President on same-sex marriage, speaking to progressive bloggers. That's the first time he says his attitudes are evolving. Casey Hunt. December 2010, he signs the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which, by the way, you know, they take a lot of credit for. Remember, that had to be, it was Congress, it was sort of, a lot of people thought the president had to get dragged into making that. There was some concern, was he ready to do it when he did it? But he did it at the time. Administration in February of 2011 stops defending DOMA, and of course we know about the president's quote itself. But Casey Hunt, the other fascinating thing about this over the last 48 hours, silence from the Republican and Romney side. It's not as if they believe this is somehow a good issue to say, oh, look, we can exploit. Democrats are the pro-gay marriage party, and they don't necessarily want to be seen as the anti-gay marriage party, do that.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a conversation that they have no interest in having either. Mitt Romney made some very brief comments about it yesterday to a local TV station in Ohio, basically saying, you know, my position is that marriage is between one man and one woman, and that's never going to change. But, you know, you've seen them have to sort of grapple with some issues around gay rights, even in their own campaign. You had a national security spokesman who resigned after the campaign really didn't step out front to defend him aggressively when he took some serious heat from the right wing. So Romney also has to walk this careful line between the right wing and the social conservatives in his party, many of whom have been uncomfortable with him historically, and, you know, others who say that the country is going in the direction of supporting these rights. Yeah,
you know, Shira, and this political calculation that you hear from Democrats of, like, why could President Obama be holding out, that Faz was bringing up? And they always point to more religious African Americans. But, you know, when we did our last NBC Wall Street Journal poll, the biggest jumps in support for gay marriage came from African Americans.
Right, and if you look at the president's support from states like Ohio, I've drilled down in those numbers, and his support from African Americans is unprecedented. It's something like 95% approval rating. This is not one of the groups and areas he needs to work on. What I think is interesting here is that in many ways his position, his evolving position, is running contrary to the platform he ran again 4 years ago, that is in many ways post-partisan and not political. And I think that's going to be a growing narrative, an evolving narrative, if you will.
Staffers down there in Chicago who are working for him. Yeah. Those staffers in the White House who work for him, I guarantee you, Chuck, 95% of them would love to see Obama come out, would be totally supportive of him. They're dying for this to happen. It just needs the president to pull the trigger. He's holding them back.
How awkward is it going to be? I mean, not to be cliche here or stereotype Hollywood, but he's going to do this big $12 million fundraiser with George Clooney on Thursday night. Is he going to be the only guy in that room not supporting publicly gay marriage?
You know, I probably.
Yeah, getting your soul that night, that's for sure.
I mean, I was just going to say, you just feel, look, Hollywood Democratic donors, they follow these debates, the big picture debates, very closely. This is going to be the conversation at the fundraiser, is it not?
Right, it absolutely will be. I guess, like, to understand their side, I guess, is to understand your argument with Governor Perdue, which is to say that they want to, at this point, not let those political dimensions in North Carolina, Virginia, and those battleground states disrupt their rollout. I feel like they have an idea for a rollout, Chuck. And they're upset.
You know what? And they're upset about the rollout.
On the rollout.
And you know what? You may be right. All right, we're going to talk about the U.S. Senate. After Dick Lugar, after the break, trivia time, we asked who was the only Republican to run for the Senate in 2006 who did not have an official Democratic opponent. The answer? It was Indiana Senator Richard Lugar. He won that year with 87% of the vote. We'll be right back. You're watching the Daily Rundown only on MSNBC.